Hello everyone, welcome back again to my class. This is the part 5 of the class and object series in Java. This video I will teach you and demonstrate to you how we can incorporate user input to our program. Okay? So basically we were going to use user input in assigning object attribute. Okay? So previously, this is what have we assign multiple objects in one array. So in our codes, you can see there are uh, pre-fill up data in our constructor. So in the actual development, we don't allow this thing to happen. We want the user to input their data. Okay, so we will use scanner class, and this scanner class is to get the user input, right? So the same thing that what we did on our C++ application. If we will let the user input some data, we use cout. Okay, so this in Java we will use scanner class. Okay, so the same thing, we need to define the scanner class. We need to include it in our program. So to do that, on this main class, you have to go at the top and you have to import that class, right? So import that Java, that is the package, and also the util package and Java util. Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, and scanner. Okay. So we import Java util scanner or the scanner class under the util package and also on the under the Java package. When you say package, that is a folder. So that is a built-in scan class in Java. Okay. So all you need to do is to import it in your program. Okay. In order for us to use to let the user input some data. Okay, so in here, in our class, we have an initialization or instantiation of class or creating an object. Right now, the same thing that we are going to do in our class scanner. We were going to create our object for that. Okay, so use this the name of your class scanner, and what is you can name it whatever you want it for your scanner object. So I can name it to my scan is equal to new instance of the scanner. Okay, and then the constructor, which is scanner. Okay, then the parameter that you are going to supply to is system that in. So basically, um, Java is purely OOP because the input or the user input that we were going to use is scan a class, right? So right now we are using the scanner class, and we have now the object my class for all the attributes of the class scanner are we can now use it. Okay, so right now all we need to do is to create we can set directly if you want to just supply it on here to save variable declaration. So basically, since this is an integer, probably you will just automatically put here my scan. Sorry for that. Okay, my scan dot. Um, so the scanner has a lot of functions that we can work with. So the first is we can just type here next all of. Okay, so we have next int. When we say next int, we have to read values from the user. So when we say next, okay, we let the user input something, and then there is a data type intended for that. So we have next int, next int for integer, next double for double, next float for floating data type, and next long for again for an integer. And if you want to store string, you just use next. Okay, so next. So probably what you can, when we add this one, when you run it in a program, your program asks you something like this, right? Then we type here, for example, 5. So as you can see here for Mobile Legend, okay, your hero code is 5. What you enter here. So basically, the user now accepts, or the program now accepts user input. Okay, but in this case, it's probably good, but we cannot know what are the data that we need. Like so, what we need to do is we need to prompt the user what data that they want to input, right? So for that, we'll just remove everything and stay into. So we will just prompt the user, like for example, system. Okay, prompt the user like enter the hero code. Yeah, I'm not using print and, but I will just print for so that the user will just type into after the semicolon, because if print line it will enter on the next line. If so, then right now we will going to create variable like that is int hero code is equal to your scanner object my scan dot next int. Yeah, so now this time here we're going to put it in here, hero code, right? So that is the time you know that you are inputting hero code, right? And I'll be doing the same for the name, so I'll just copy and paste. And right now I'll be using uh, ln to let you see the difference. And also, since hero name, okay, I'll be creating string hero name is equal to my scan dot next. Okay, next is when you are going to store a string value, right? And I will use it for here for hero name. So okay, so we will try to use this data, this code. Okay, run. Okay, so we let the user input enter the hero code, like for example 5 and the hero name. So as you can see right now, when you type, it's on the next line since you are using print ln. So if you are using print only, the data that you are going to enter is just beside on the next on the line. If you use ln, it will put on the next line. So my recommendation is that it will be the kind of hair styling. I will um, recommend you to use print for you to make your arrangement much more nicer. Okay, so the name, for example, like Aldos. Yeah. So as you can see here, okay, my name is Aldos. You type to enter it, and my code in Mobile Legend is tank, right? So you manage to input some data from the user. Okay, so just follow along like for the rule. So let's check, for example, just type here. Okay, and for the hero rule, string hero rule, and then next. Okay, so the same thing like for the fighter, and for that is we call it the specialty, hero specialty. Okay, then hero special. Okay, then that is the time. So next, okay, we will try to use it. I know we'll just try to complete na lang for us to make use of the time. So you're now specialty. So next is the lane. So just copy and paste it again. Hero laning. Okay, hero lane. So hero lane, my scan. As laning is string, right? Yes. Then next is uh, hero released, and now this is next int, right? Because that is an integer. Next int, and now we have to change it to int, and this one is hero year release, and we have also um yeah, I guess those are the things that we have like that one, because we don't even use those things right here. Okay, but we have to do that one. Okay, um the health, the mana, and the price. Okay, so all of those are integers, so I'll just copy health. Okay, and hero health. Hero health, hero mana, and also that is an integer, and then last is price, hero price, hero price next. Yeah, so everything has this prompt. Then once it is prompt, we let the user input by using the our scanner, prompt it again, then we have the input again, the whatever the user that you will input, and until on the last attribute. So we will try to incorporate all of those things here in our first object, hero rule, specialty, and lane, and also ear. Okay, heal, mana, and price. Okay, so everything uh, we assign it to our constructor parameter. Okay, so now we will run our program and see if we don't have any error. Hopefully we don't have. I'll try to hero code 1 for example, and my name for my user is, for example, Rizal. So since all of those are, yeah, we are using ln, right? All of those. So role, for example, okay, tank, for example, right? then specialty lane, uh, mid laner. Okay, right? So what happened? Okay, enter hero lane and don't accept, then enter hero. Okay, so probably we broke our codes, right? So why did that happen? Okay, since next here, okay, so we were going to continue. So we don't even have the value for lane. We don't even the capability to store it. It is it lumped to release here. So for example, 2018 health 2000. Okay, 100 mana 100 and the price, for example, 200. So it's still the same, right? High Bang Bang is Rizal, Mobile Legend is 1, Tank, Specialty is Mid, and I am a laner. It's automatically whatever we and the mid and the laner, right? So and everything is work until this time happened. So what happened, right? So next int is just to capture a word for a string. So after a space like this one, it will automatically now move to another next. So that is why the made here for specialty is captured for specialty here. And for why you don't even enter a value for the lane since and it captures the laner because the after the next here is the new value. So after the space, the laner is now stored with his one, right? So probably if you input multiple words like 2 or 3 words in our, so probably this is not your option here. So all we need to do is to upgrade. Instead of using next, we will use next line, right? For next line, right? Next line. Next line is everything here, right? For mid laner, it only used for mid laner for next line. So that is the difference between next and next line. So next is only creating you capturing one word and it will break when there is a space. So that is why when we enter it didn't know more as the value for lane, it now uh, prompt directly to the release since the this laner is already automatically store it on the variable for laner here. So for the next line, so every I tend to every time if I will capture um, multiple words, I or particularly on string, I always use next line for me to save trouble later. Sometimes we may probably that will give us problem later on. Right? But you can determine if that value can only have one word, one word. Right? So for example, the username, the email, those are for intended for next. But like for example, first name, there is a tendency that there is a double name, double word for a name and for the last name. So we cannot tell. So you can choose next line for that. So next line, so possible string should next line. So what happened is even though that is for example one, okay. So we have now a problem also. Once we are upgrading next line and we are using integer, that is also a problem. We have uh, when you enter one, it captures everything for one since this is only one line. So hero name has also a value of 1 and roll is has a value of 1 also. So since the entire line and there's only one line that we capture here. So that makes sense. All we need to do is to capture everything into next line, right? So we capture everything to next line like that one, and that one. For that all our field are capturing one line. Then next line is a string data type, so you that is where you can have an error like this. Cannot convert from string to int since your storage is integer and the value that you store is a string, right? Even though that you are going to input a number. So since this is the solution for our problem, since if you don't change it, it will look like this. Like when enter someone, since next line is our uh, 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 is the default getting of all the every line. So since next line name and role are set to next line, so in the top level when you enter, and this is probably a line, so that is why it will no longer accept value here. So in order for us to solve that issue, we change all of those um, user input data type into next line. And now since we have now are getting an error also since of this problem that this integer cannot store string, so all we need to do is to convert this line into an integer. So how can you do that? We just add a line here. Just type here the data type that you're going to use, like integer dot, then use parse int, then open parenthesis and close parenthesis. And that's how we can convert string to number by using integer dot parse int. Okay, so you are using integer built-in function and has its own method parse int. So whatever the string here will be converted to integer. So the same thing, like if you have double here, since if you're type for example putting double in here, all we need to do, since double can store integer value also, so that's still correct. But if you have decimal places like that you're going to input, you can change this one. Instead of integer, you type here double and parse double. So this is how we can convert string to double. Okay, so whatever your data type here, just type here double or whatever the data type, and then parse whatever the data type. Okay, since I will use integer, I'll use integer that parse integer integer. Okay, sorry for that. Inti parse in, sorry, that is parse in. Okay, so the same thing that I will be doing the rest of the string to integer conversion. Open close, then don't forget to close it. I copy. Okay, I'll copy up until the opening parenthesis, so I'll be closing it again here, paste it here, close it again, paste it here, and close it again. Okay, so now we don't have getting any error since we managed to pull it over. How we can solve this particular problem. Okay, so now we can run it again, and we will try to use those correct data that we need. Like for example, I'll just search first um, ml hero. Okay. Okay, so I have now an info, like for example, to enter a hero. So hero code, like for example, 64. So the name. So let's type here Aldos. Sorry for that. My keyboard is not working properly. Okay, for a while. Okay, that's Aldos. Enter a role. So now it's now accepting, like not the one that we got earlier. Then that is fighter and hero capacity specialties. Um, burst and support. So as you can see now, we have three words. So since we are getting next line, so that stores only in one variable. So hero lane, expert laner, okay, hero release, for example, 2016, health 100, mana 100, and price 1000. Then you got all those data that we enter, all those, we have 64, and we have tank. Okay, why we have tank? Probably we yeah, on our previous activity where uh, we change our rule to tank. Okay, whatever we enter our data here, since this is the first line of codes here, meaning that is the first, and then Java starts the read from top to bottom. So here, we set initial value. Then after this line, we alter the data. So that is why it's still happening. We're still having a tank here. That is the reason why we have an output for the tank here. So yeah, for the tank and for then for specialty and burst, we managed to we managed to capture the entire line, right? And for expert laner, so everything's work. Okay, so this that's it. We tried to incorporate user input in our work, right? So in your activity with this part one, I'll let you finish it and create another variables list of variables here for object number one and object number two. Okay, the object one, object two, and object three. So we managed to create object one. So we create another a set of variables. You can name it whatever you want. You can add, for example, hero code 2, hero code, hero name 2 for object 2. Okay, so just practice on it. So just finish everything here. Okay, so I hope you've learned something with me with this video, and that's all that I can work on this topic. So that is how we can incorporate user input in assigning values to our object attributes. Okay. So there will be an optional video, and that is for option pane. If you are going to use input messaging dialog box for your input and output. So this is only an optional video for you. Okay. So how that is another way of we can set data on our instead of using scanner, we can use a option pane. Okay, and instead of using system out that print line like that the one that we have here, we can use also another way of outputting data. Okay, so again, that's it, and I hope you've learned something with me. I am glad that you are reaching this far. Okay, I know we can get to it all together, and I'm lucky that you are learning from me. Okay, so again, uh, thank you. God bless everyone. Have a nice day. Bye bye.